There are moments in life that change everything. Not slowly, not gently, but all at once. Like a door slamming shut on a quiet afternoon. This is the story of Maya, a woman who stood on the front porch of her own home, 8 months pregnant, with nowhere to go and no one to turn to, or so her husband believed. The morning had started like most mornings on Clover Ridge Lane. Warm, golden and deceptively peaceful. Maya Caldwell sat at the kitchen table, her hands wrapped around a mug of chamomile tea, her swollen belly resting against the table's edge. She was 34 years old, with soft curly hair and dark, patient eyes that had seen more disappointment than she ever spoke about. She had a quiet kind of strength, the sort that doesn't announce itself. The sort that simply endures. Her husband, Dominic Caldwell, moved through the kitchen without looking at her. He was a tall man with broad shoulders and a sharp jaw, the kind of man who filled a room without trying. But lately, something cold had settled into the space between them, something that had no name. But Maya could feel it every single morning. When he turned away from her at the breakfast table, she had been feeling it for months now. She just hadn't expected what was coming next. By noon, Dominic had packed a suitcase. Not hers, his, or so Maya thought. Until he dragged it to the front door and turned to face her with eyes that held no warmth at all. "I've been thinking," he said, and the way he said it made Maya's heart drop before he even finished the sentence. "This isn't working anymore." Maya set down her mug carefully. She pressed her hand against her belly. A habit she'd developed over the past 8 months. A quiet reassurance she gave herself and her unborn daughter. "What are you saying, Dominic?" He crossed his arms. "I'm saying I want you out." The words landed like stones in still water. Maya blinked. "Dominic, I'm 8 months pregnant. I know how far along you are." His voice was flat, decided, like he had rehearsed this, like he had run through it a dozen times in his head and had already moved past the part where it should hurt him. Maya stood slowly, one hand on the table for balance, the other still resting on her belly. "Dominic, please, think about what you're doing." "This is our child. This is our home." "It's my home," he said. "And I'd like you to leave." She looked at him for a long time. She searched his face for something. Regret, hesitation, even just a flicker of the man she had married 4 years ago. She found nothing. And then from the hallway, a door opened. A woman stepped into the kitchen. She was tall and elegant, wearing a dark red dress, a champagne glass dangling lightly from her fingers. She smiled at Maya, not with cruelty exactly, but with the casual ease of someone who believed she had already won. Maya recognized her. Her name was Renee. She worked with Dominic. Maya had told herself for months, up for this. The room seemed to spin around Maya. She reached out, gripping the counter to keep herself steady. "Marcus, please. We can work through this together. We're a team." "We're married?" "We're married," Marcus corrected, emphasizing the past tense. "I've already spoken to my lawyer. The papers will be ready next week." Maya's mother, Diane, appeared in the doorway behind Marcus, her face etched with concern. She had been staying with them for the past month, helping out however she could. "Marcus, you can't be serious. This is your wife. Your partner." Marcus didn't even look at Diane. His eyes remained fixed on Maya, cold and unyielding. "Stay out of this, Diane. This is between me and your daughter." "She's going through a difficult time," Diane insisted, stepping into the room. "You made vows. For better or worse, remember?" "The worse has lasted long enough," Marcus shot back. He grabbed his suitcase and turned toward the door. "I'm leaving. My lawyer will be in touch." Maya found her voice, though it came out strangled and broken. "So that's it? 12 years and you're just walking away?" Marcus paused at the door, his hand on the handle. For a moment, just a brief moment, Maya thought she saw something flicker in his expression. Regret, perhaps. Doubt. But then his face hardened again and he pulled the door open. "Goodbye, Maya," he said without looking back. "Good luck with your bankruptcy." The door slammed shut with such force that the pictures on the wall rattled. Maya stood frozen, the rejection letter still in her hand, watching through the window as Marcus loaded his suitcase into his car. A woman sat in the passenger seat, someone Maya didn't recognize. The truth hit her then, sharp and painful. This wasn't just about the money. Marcus had already moved on. He had probably been planning this for weeks, maybe months. The car pulled away, disappearing down the tree-lined street, and Maya finally let herself collapse. She sank to the floor, her back against the kitchen cabinet. and the tears she had been holding back came flooding out. Great, heaving sobs that shook her entire body. Diane was beside her in an instant, wrapping her arms around her daughter and holding her close. "Shh, baby. Let it out. Just let it all out." They sat there on the kitchen floor for what felt like hours, though it was probably only minutes. Maya cried until she had no tears left, until she felt empty and exhausted and utterly defeated. Everything she had worked for, everything she had believed in, had crumbled to dust. "What am I going to do, Mom?" Maya finally whispered. "I have nothing. No business, no money, no husband. I'm completely alone." "You're not alone," Diane said firmly, pulling back to look Maya in the eyes. "You have me. You have always had me. And you're stronger than you think, Maya. You're going to get through this." Maya shook her head. "I don't feel strong. I feel broken. Broken things can be mended." Wise, because those were the things that mattered. When Maya called him that afternoon, her voice steady even though her hands were shaking, she said only 4 words before he stopped her. "Daddy, he threw me out." There was a pause on the other end of the line. A long, slow breath. "Stay right there," Elias said. "I'm coming." Elias arrived in 45 minutes. He pulled up to Clover Ridge Lane, not in his old truck, but in a sleek black car driven by someone else, a detail that Maya noticed, and that surprised even her. He stepped out slowly, the way a man who has nothing to prove moves through the world. He was in his early 60s, silver at his temples, with the same patient eyes his daughter had inherited. He walked up the front path and put his arms around Maya without a single word. She let herself lean into him, just for a moment. Then he stepped back, looked at her carefully, and said, "Are you all right? Is the baby all right?" "We're both okay," she said. He nodded. Then he took out his phone and made 2 calls. The first was to his attorney. The second was to the property manager of a residential building, downtown, a building that, as it turned out, Elias happened to own. By evening, Maya had a fully furnished apartment waiting for her. By the following morning, legal documents had been drawn up. By the end of the week, Dominic Caldwell had received a very thorough and very expensive reminder that the woman he had thrown off his porch was not, in fact, without resources. The divorce proceedings were swift. The settlement was fair but firm. Dominic's lawyer called Elias's lawyer twice to try to renegotiate. Both times the answer was the same: no. 6 weeks later, Maya gave birth to a daughter. She named her Grace. Grace came into the world on a quiet Tuesday morning, small and perfect and already stubborn about the direction she wanted to face. Maya held her in the hospital room with her father sitting beside her, his old truck parked in the hospital garage like a small, grounded reminder of who they were and where they came from. "She's got your eyes," Elias said softly. "She's got your stubbornness," Maya said. And for the first time in a long time, she laughed. Really laughed. The kind that comes up from somewhere deep and honest. Her neighbors Kevin and Danielle sent flowers. A small card came with them that read simply, "We saw what happened. We're so glad you're okay." Maya put the card on the windowsill of the nursery. She didn't look back at Clover Ridge Lane. She didn't need to. She had her daughter. She had her father. She had a new front door, one that no one could close on her. And somewhere on the other side of the city, Dominic Caldwell was learning, slowly and thoroughly, exactly what kind of woman he had underestimated. Some doors, once closed, open into something far better than what was left behind. Maya Carter, she had quietly gone back to her name, tucked her daughter close, looked out the window at the soft afternoon light, and simply began again.